to how the first stories that moved us were told on this land. The real story that never needed ink, not archived, in the words of Robert Eggington. So in tribute to this Year of the Indigenous Languages, we are so honoured to have Gina and Ghouse here to sing us into our day. Today is the UNESCO International Mother Languages Day. The theme of this year's day is Indigenous Languages Matter for Development, Peace Building and Reconciliation. And I think it's a perfect day to listen to you sing, so welcome.
Just while Guy's getting set up, can I respectfully ask that everybody puts away their devices? Switch them off, put them away. We want to share a moment with you, not a Facebook status. And anything that you record of us is unusable because it's going to sound like crap. And we've got recordings and CDs for sale that you can take home with you and you can love us forever with. Is that fair enough? We even got F-Box. Come up, can you now? Gina, Guy, not jerking on it, Gina. Not jerking it, would you, Yuriaka? This would you, Quabra, would you, where none court jerk, Yuriaka, Kayama. My name is Gina, and this is Guy. My heart is very nervous. I'm very happy to see you today. My heart is happy that we stand here in this beautiful space. My heart is happy that we have some heroes in our community here to talk to us and to share some incredible things. I, as a young reporter, loved and respected and admired Robert and Selena, and I worked with Carol Dowling there, and I feel honoured to actually be in the same room to be able to share with you today with these heroes of mine. I'm supposed to talk to you about the importance of the revival of Indigenous languages. I'd rather show you. I think that our language is the most beautiful, the most powerful, and the most connected language that you can possibly have in this place, on the planet actually, but that's just me being biased. Our languages over years have been reduced to a whisper. It's been hunted down, it's been stamped out, people were beaten. I'm not talking like little love's tap, I'm talking like properly, viciously beaten for speaking their languages. We were told that it was wrong, that our languages weren't good enough. And as a result, according to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, if you like numbers, less than 400 people speak Noongar language, which is less than 1% of our population, of our Noongar population. So, we're on a bit of a mission. I'm on a bit of a mission to turn that around, to show people that it is indeed a beautiful language and it's something that we can all share, and we can do so with love. What Guy and I do is informed by four things. Our court, which is our heart. Can you say court? Oh, listen here, Mom, he's hollering. Court is your heart. Next one is mort. Can you say mort? Your mort is your family, or the people that we choose as family. The third principle is buja. Can you say buja? Buja is our land. And the fourth principle is korlanga. Can you say korlanga? Korlanga is children, but it's more than that. It's about legacy. It's about how we leave this place. We can't change what's gone before us, but what we can do is we can take responsibility for what is happening now. We can figure out what it is that makes our heart beat faster, and we can pursue it to the ends of the earth, because that is how we affect change. Don't encourage me, I won't shut up. My passion is my my language. My heart is towards my people. My great love is music. So the idea that we can combine those things, it's a powerful combination. So I think the best thing to do is to sing a song. We're going to sing a court song. It's about my favourite critter in the whole known universe, the bindi bindi, the butterfly. What I love about her is that she starts out not liked. People don't like her, they don't want her in their garden, they want to squash her and they want to stamp her out because she likes to eat, and I don't think that's very fair. The girl likes to feed and doesn't want to get squashed. Oh, I don't want to be punished for that. So I can imagine what it must be for a little caterpillar, you know? But just as the caterpillar thinks it's all over and it goes to black, she becomes a butterfly. And the way she does it, she gets a belly full of food, she builds herself a cocoon, a little doona fort, and she takes a nap. Isn't that genius? And we see these cocoons and we think sometimes, oh, nothing's happening, you know, because they just look like they just split. But actually what's happening is miraculous because she comes completely undone. And then when she busts out of her doona fort, she's beautiful and we go, oh, isn't she gorgeous? She's always been beautiful. Our languages are going through this journey. It's the International Year of Indigenous Languages. Today is the day of the mother tongue. You know what? For us scholars, it's every day. We don't need a special year to know what we've known all along. It's good to have it though, because then we can share it with everybody else. So Bindi Bindi, she's not winya, she's not weak. She keeps a murich court, she keeps a strong heart. Bindi Bindi, she's Durban, she's happy because she never wants for what's not hers. Bindi Bindi, she's Kwabadok, she's beautiful, she's not frightened of her past. And Bindi Bindi, she's murich, she's strong, she's focused on exactly what's in front of her. Not got a big windscreen on a bus going into curb. Nah, last thing goes through Bindi Bindi's mind when she hits the window. Bindi Bindi comes before us and she dances. Kakaruk. And we only ever see him for a little minute, and I reckon she sings to us. She says, Borda, I'll talk to you real soon. And even though we only ever see her for a little second, whenever we conjure the memory of the Bindi Bindi, when we think of her, it's always beautiful. So she becomes Kwabada Kalyuku, beautiful forever. That's my take on the Bindi Bindi, and it's my take on our languages. They are beautiful forever. This is Bindi Bindi the butterfly. Bindi Bindi Bal, you are Gwinya. Kalyuku. I'm a product of the village. I have 4 sets of parents. I have biological parents who made me. I have adopted parents who chose me. I have a foster family that rescued me, and I have a second foster family that showed me really tough love because I was a pretty angry little girl by the time I got to them. As a result, I obsessively write about my mums. Every song is about all of them, so that it avoids any confusion. Oh, that song about your mum was beautiful. Yes, mum, it's about you. Unfortunately, that none of them have ever turned up to a gig at the same time. No, I'm kidding. I'm being facetious now. My mum, my biological mum, is part of the stolen generations. She was taken as a little girl from her family. Her mother was taken as a little girl from Mullabula Station. She was marched as a 4-year-old to Derby. I don't need to explain, that's a mighty long way for a 4-year-old to walk. She was shipped down to Carrawup Mission, then moved up to Magumba Mission where she met my grandfather, the Balladon man. My mum was taken to Rawlins Mission and then she was moved to Sister Kate's. She had language beaten from her. For my own healing and as part of my own journey with this story, I wanted to honour it with this story, part of her story, and it's quite simply Little Orphan Girl, New York Ghana. She has no mum, she has no father, she has no love, and she doesn't understand why. The authorities come and they tell her you have no mother and father, you're never going to see them again because they're gone. But this little girl doesn't buy the script. She goes outside, she looks up at the night sky, and in amongst the stars she sees and feels the presence of her family there. She goes back to the authorities and she tells them, you're wrong, I do have a family. I keep them here in my heart. This story is not unique to my family, it's not unique to Nyunga, it's not unique even to Indigenous people in Australia. The establishment has been firmly in the business of taking kids from the loving embrace of their families, shipping them away from their heartlands and moving them to all corners of the globe. They've done it for decades. It continues. We live in a time where slavery has never been more abundant. We live in a time where human rights, you would think that we would be more enlightened, but we're not. So we honour these people, and I hope that in amongst the mix of the thousands of children that were taken from all over this planet, that there would be one little orphan girl or little orphan boy that thumbed their nose at the establishment and told them they were wrong. This is for them, this is not Ghana. medyo balak kanyang mo, kanyang kuran. Song of Butcher is based on my favourite traditional story. I think there's lots of stories, languages and stories and lore and culture passed down through song, through storytelling. And this is my favourite. When this was told to me for the first time, it was told in a very particular way, and over the years, when I worked as a journalist, got many elders to tell this story in many variations. I think it's fair to say if you put two Ginas in a room, we come out with three political parties. So if you've heard this story, I mean that with all the respect in the world, we just want to be heard. If you've heard this story and it's a variation, it's okay. We can all have different ways of telling this one story as long as the theme of it and the spirit of it is correct. So, this is the story of Kubati and Warda, Magpie and Crow. It goes like this. Kora, knitting butcher. Long ago when the earth was cold, young us, we didn't call it the dream time. We were awake because we had the knitting, the cold, it was freezing and stuff was being made. There was Kubati the magpie and there was Warda the crow. They were close, like brothers. They used to go camp at each other's nests, they used to go fishing and hunting together. They were proper besties. And they had feathers that were white. They were very beautiful birds. And they totally knew it. Think of themselves birds, you might say that they were up themselves. What would happen is they'd go down to the billiard, down to the river, and they'd talk to the other barra, the other animals, and they'd go, Nimba, crocodile! Nimba, crocodile! He's the best looking, he's the most handsome, he's the prettiest. Oh, Kubati, easy daddy for this party, there's no one finer than you. No, Kubati might be daddy, but everybody married up for Warda. When you marry up for someone you love them very much, you marry them, have the babies, have a very long and stable relationship. Went perfectly till one day one brother overheard the other. Well, you can imagine two very jealous, very vain brothers. Climb a block, big rip, big fight, fell down into the coal, into the fire. And this is where the change happens. So, Warda, he at the bottom. His white feathers turned beautifully, perfectly, completely, totally black. Because you can never be too black. Well, Kubati, magpie thought he was going to get away with it. No, he's going up in the air, but he got caught with the ashes and the smoke. Warra, Kedla, Ninja, Kura, Murich, Kura. Bad days came here for those who were once good friends. Kubati packed up his nest. Last we heard, he over with Shadi Sikamol. All that flash fella's over at Cottesloe, mate. Warra, he got in touch with his bogan roots. I can say this because I live over this way. He went to Midland, he got shot with a mullet pack there. Keyword in this hut. I'm only playing with you, Mom. Don't go telling anyone I said that. Anyway, the key word is Alima, which means look out. This is the story of Kubati and Warda, the ballad of the Magpie and Crow. Kubati Warda, Murich, Kurda, Bala, Kurda, Kanyaku, Warra, Kedla, you are cool. Warra, Kedla, Bokurda, Warra, Kedla, you are cool. You are Murich, Kurda, Bilya, Kubati, Bala, Wangin, Nimba, Wabada, Nimba, Wabada, Badan, Badan, Wangin, Nunu, Wabada, Warda, Bao, Gina, Kubati, Aliwa. Warda, Kubati, Bala, Kumba, Pakachu, Nana, Winnie, Kala, Bala, Cuba, Kabata, the best thing that we can do to look forward is to reference what's gone before us, the things that have worked. For us, we've had a pause in our cultural practice in many, many areas. Not all of us have grown up with language. I'm certainly one of those people. I'm very, very lucky in that I've been mentored incredibly by people who are willing to stand next to me and very patiently work with me. So, for us to proceed with languages, it has to happen within our families. The intergenerational trauma has to turn into intergenerational healing. We have to be given the capacity. At the moment, we're given no authority but all responsibility, and that needs to shift. We can't keep throwing funding. The funding is disappearing, and we are seeing our kids killing themselves. That has to shift. So we sing. We write songs for the children whose mothers can't sing to them. We write songs for the children who will never feel their family's embrace. We sing for them, we sing for the corona, for the generations that come. Bukit Bunding